Howdy folks, welcome back to Duke Frazier Productions. In today's video, we're going to be talking about cap jams. A modern problem or a historical one? Stay tuned.
Spinning it. That black powder smoke don't taste so good.
Alright folks, so as we said in today's video, we're going to be discussing cap jams. In the modern world, cap jams are a thing that plagues black powder revolver shooters quite often. And in my experience, there are two types of cap jams. There are what's known as cap sucking, a term referring to the cap being grabbed by the hammer as the cap is blown back into the hammer face. The hammer then pulls that cap back and drops into the action. This is the most common that you see in a lot of revolvers. The other type is blowback. And this is one that I've experienced on my 31 pocket model and a couple of other guns. And that's due to the fact that Uberti, because this has always happened to me on Uberti guns, Uberti in the last couple of years have been reducing the power of their mainsprings. So what's happening is the cap is not being grabbed by the hammer and being drawn back. It's simply being blown past the hammer down into the action. And the reason for that is that the mainsprings, as I said, have been weakened, and so they don't have enough pressure to hold that cap in place, and thus it pushes them back and blows past. Another reason for this is due to the fact that the cones, known today as the nipples, the vent hole through those have been drilled out too much and they allow too much back pressure. So there are many methods of resolving this issue. One is installing aftermarket nipples. I've had a lot of success with slick shot nipples, stopping cap jams. They do a very good job. I had a Pieta 18, or I have a Pieta 1860 Army, and that thing cap jammed on every single round I fired. It got to the point where I didn't want to fire it anymore. I installed slick shots on it, not had a cap jam with it since. So slicks will help alleviate that problem. However, they don't prevent it, because on my Uberti guns that I've put slicks on, I've had a few cap jams with them. Another method of remedying this is to polish the hammer face of the gun. And what this does is take off any burrs that can be grabbed by the hammer and pulled back. So if you've got what's the cap sucking going on when the hammer's pulling the cap back, that's another option you can go with. Now with a blowback issue, you really can't put a new mainspring in there unless you can find a machinist that's really good at springs. And then you might have some issues with timing. So then again, the aftermarket nipples will resolve that issue. Now currently, Slicks does not offer nipples for the pocket models. However, there are a few other companies out there that do. And that's one route that you can go with if you're having the problem with blowback. Because what you want is a smaller vent hole that does not allow the back pressure to come back through the nipple. What you want is the fire to go through, ignite the powder, discharge the gun without the back pressure coming back through it. Now, a lot of people have asked the question, well, if the Colts, because the Colts are notorious for cap jams. All the Colt clones that are currently issued out there, those are the ones that cap jam. Remingtons don't cap jam as much. I've had cap jams with them. But the Colts are the ones that are notorious for it. And a lot of people ask, well, if that's a problem with them, why were they so popular back in the day? The answer to that is that they had different caps. So a lot of people have said, it's because the modern reproductions aren't made to the same specs. They're not as detailed as the originals were. Some say this, that, and the other. What nobody has bothered to look at, well, maybe a few of us have decided to look at it, but what is widely missed is the fact that the percussion caps might be the problem. Not the gun, but the caps. So a good friend of mine, colleague, fellow YouTuber, however you want to put it, Mark Hubbs, who is the main guy over there at Arizgon Bullet Molds, posted a while back of a letter that was written with regards to Ordnance Department testing on percussion caps with guns. And this is a real eye-opener. I would post a picture of this, but I don't know what the rights are. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to read it to you. You're going to have to take my word for it. Mark Hubbs can back me up on this. But this is from this is to Brigadier General J.W. Ripley, Chief of the Ordnance Department, Washington City. General, I have made some experiments with percussion caps and revolving pistols and have reached the following conclusions, viz. Whatever viz means. I wasn't very good at literature in high school, so. First, a cap suitable for Colts pistol does not suit either Savages or Stars because the mainspring is too weak to explode it. Second, a cap suitable for Savages or Stars pistol does not suit Colts because the hammer drives it in pieces. A fragment often lodges in front of the cock. Sound familiar? And renders the arm useless after the first fire. Wow, that sounds like cap sucking to me. On this account, our spies carry 2 pistols and have had to depend on the second for safety for the reason above stated. Therefore, I am compelled to have 2 qualities made, one for Colts answering the thickness of copper to Ely's double waterproof, and the other for Savage and Stars to Ely's metal lined. I am, sir, very respectfully your obedient servant, R.H.K. Whitley, Major of Ordnance. So, it appears that it's not a problem with the modern guns at all. It's a problem with the caps. So I've conferred with Mark Hubbs on this on several occasions, and he was kind enough to provide me with some information, which I'm going to pull up here on my screen. So on an unknown original, these are the measurements, and we'll just compare them to some of the modern ones. So actually, we'll start off. So on the measurements of the Remington number 10, which is what I use, and it's the most common, one of the more common caps out there, we have a weight of 1.8 grains, so not real heavy. Outside diameter, that means the outside of the cap, of 0.177, a length of 0.174, and a metal thickness of 0.008. That is a thin piece of copper. The CCI caps are almost identical. The length is a little bit different between the 10 and the 11. The metal thickness on the CCIs is even thinner, 0.006. So that's 6 thousandths of an inch. Holy Moses, that's thin. And then Mark here has an unknown original. The weight of this cap is 3.9 grains. Holy Moses. We've gone up 2 grains in weight. The outside diameter is 0.195. So we've gone up almost 2 hundredths of an inch. The length is 0.213. Length, you can play around with. That really doesn't affect much. And here's the kicker. Metal thickness is 0.014. So you almost double the metal thickness. So what can be interpreted from this information? What it probably comes down to is that the current caps on the market are not suited to the original design of what they were supposed to use. Because as you could, as we saw there, the thickness on the unknown original cap was much thicker than what's offered today. And from this experiment, as we read off here, Colt pistols did not work well with the thin metal of the thinner caps. They had to have the thickness of the heavier caps from Eli's, what was known as the double waterproof, so a thicker cap. And to me, that pretty much solves the problem of why the guns nowadays have cap jams. The problem to remedying this is I doubt we're going to be able to get any of those companies to get together and make a thicker cap. So in order to address the modern problems that we're having with the caps is that we have to use aftermarket methods. We have to do a little gunsmithing on the gun, or we have to install aftermarket nipples. Until one of the companies begins to produce a thicker cap designed specifically for Colt guns, cap jams are probably still going to be a problem that plagues us for the foreseeable future. So if you liked what you've seen on the video thus far today, be sure to hit the subscribe button down there below. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Patreon, and Instagram. Links to that are right down there in the description box. And remember, stay tuned and keep your powder dry.